All right. So in this in this stream, we're going to be doing uh we're gonna be doing SAT and more SAT practice. Uh and obviously we're gonna be doing Desmos. We're gonna be doing Desmos graphing, right? So just keep this up to the side. Uh I guess. So first step, right? We're gonna be reacting to a video, right? The Asian Secret Studying Effectively. Right. Let's look at this video. 1 second. Alright, so let's react to this, right?
Including you. Lifelong learning is a life skill essential for making progress towards your goals, discovering new things, and ultimately finding yourself. And right now in this moment, I have to study for the education system, as I'm sure many of you have to as well. I'm Korean, and Korea is notorious for the 16 hours of studying a day, preschool lessons, post-school
More like okay. More like 6 to 7 hours. Alright, never mind.
lessons, homework, literally learning how to lucid dream just so you can cram more than the 2 hours of sleep that your mum lets you get. But thankfully, I escaped. From the country, yes, but from my parents, no. And I think throughout the years, I've built up
I mean that kinda makes sense, right?
enough knowledge to call myself somewhat of a studying expert. And I won't deny at school, I am that guy. The guy that everyone hates because they seem to do well, no matter what. The Asian, who everyone calls having a no life, rice eating 20 hours a day studying, good at everything type of student. The Asian student. And not to
Alright, kinda stereotypical, but I would say pretty good intro.
toot my own horn or be arrogant, but I genuinely probably study the least in my class. And this is hard to digest because surely if you spend more time in something, the rewards will be directly proportional. But that's not the case. Throughout the years, I've tried a lot. Pretty notes, highlighting, Pomodoro technique, forest app, studying tips and tricks. And throughout this journey, I've learned a few things along the way. And whether you're an adult or you're 12 and just starting your learning journey, this video will be valuable to all because to be able to study effectively and efficiently is the key in not only enjoying the studying aspect, but also getting the progress to make your parents proud. So this is how to study, made for students, made by
Alright then. Let's get into it then.
a student. Firstly, you have to let go of the thought you have in your mind that time studied equals knowledge gained. You've seen and heard it everywhere, especially in Asia. How many hours does your child study? I study for 12 hours for this test, and it's like a propaganda machine. Because not only does this cause severe depression, but it's also shown to be extremely ineffective. It's like in the gym, doing 3 sets to failure is better than doing 12 sets. It's like it's better to use LED lights than filament bulbs because they're more efficient. It's like, okay, you get the message. Sometimes less is more. And as cool as it sounds to please your Asian parents also.
I mean not necessarily less is more because you need to practice and you need to do like those skills. I think practicing and doing active learning is a lot better than passive learning. And if you do a lot of passive learning, that's worse than doing some active learning, right? Because you learn when you do activities, right? But I I guess we'll agree to the general statement.
Flex on your friends that you study for 10 hours a day. The smartest students know how to practice deep work. And deep work refers to a state of peak concentration that lets you learn hard things and create quality work quickly. It's essentially decreasing studying time but increasing results. And this sounds so magical and golden, right? Being able to only study for 2 hours a day but have a more fulfilling and more efficient session. But deep work is just a concept and it's very general. And there are many steps, like stepping stones, that you need to cross in order to fully utilize them. Okay, so the first step we have to do is to apply a principle. It's called the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, because we've already established that you're going to drastically cut down the amount of time you spend studying into, let's call it 2 hours a day. So if you only had 2 hours a day to study, what would you do? You wouldn't make pretty notes and highlighting them. This is the part of the 80%. Sure, sure, these help, but considering the amount of help, ROI, investment return you get, these aren't worth doing. Instead, you're better off focusing on this 20% that will give you the 80% of the results. So you would do practical past paper questions and topic questions, because in the end, the questions are what's going to be on the test and what they're going to be asking. And making notes is good. My form of studying for the longest time was rewriting notes by hand into this notebook, so that by the end, I would have rewritten the whole topic. And obviously, this does work to some extent, but not only is it inefficient, it doesn't actually prepare you for the exam itself, because you just learn the content, but exam technique is half of the equation. And this inefficiency becomes blatant when you think about the fact that when you write these notes, you're writing on everything, so you're not able to target weaknesses, and you ignore the fact that you probably already know a good chunk of this, so you end up wasting time. And so that's why past papers, topic questions are so valuable, because you get to see where your gaps in the topic are, and then you consolidate those gaps with knowledge. And then you also get to see the mark scheme, which is the model answer for you to look at and memorize. And there are many sites that I personally use PMT and save my exams. And I realized that the reason I was writing these notes is that you feel like you've done a lot, because when you copy the notes and you get 3, 4, 5 pages worth of notes, you have this tangible physical evidence that you tell yourself, damn, I've studied really hard, I've got 5 pages worth of notes. Whereas in fact, that doesn't amount to knowledge. And whereas if you do past papers, 8 times 7, 56. What's the power of the cell? Mitochondria. What's the bacteria cell? God damn. And okay, if you're in higher education towards A level or university, I appreciate that memorizing everything like times table isn't going to work. But the principle of doing past paper questions, topic questions, specific questions, instead of just writing the notes, is a principle that you
Yeah, this is something like I wholeheartedly agree with. By doing things rather than just passively studying, reading stuff down, if you actually answer certain questions, he says this part of the video, it says why topic question are a secret. I mean, topic questions specifically might not be a secret, but doing that active learning, taking the steps, actually practicing along, that is what will get you to the next step and make you more efficient. Then you can employ more advanced techniques, but you need to do that first.
can agree with, and that's proven to be effective. The next section is about distractions. Distractions are like kryptonite to students, bane to the arthropods, social interactions to emails. Okay, you get it. You can all relate. You try and sit down and focus, but the distractions are always there. The best way to avoid distractions isn't to cut them out. Although in an ideal world, you could just go cold turkey and cut out video games, all these distractions out of your life. But I appreciate how hard it is in this day and age for you to just go on your phone and delete all social media apps. So we can't get rid of them fully. So then how do we stay focused when we have to work? It's simple. You just delay it. You tell yourself you'll do 2 hours of deep work, and then after that you can spend the day watching Netflix, guilt-free. Because we all know that worst feeling is when you're watching Netflix, but you still have that exam you haven't studied for. But you have to promise yourself that the condition is you have to do those 2 hours fully, 100% focused and distraction-free. And only if you do that, you're going to promise yourself that you're going to enjoy Netflix, social media.
This works for different people different ways, right? So if you're one type of person, it could work, but sometimes you could set your mind to it, it doesn't work out, right? This is where if you're one of these people, right, I would suggest actually getting a timer. Like I actually have a timer here, right here, and this is where you set work time and break time, and to force yourself to not get distracted, what you could do is set up there are many apps that do this. I'm not obviously sponsored by one, but if you have an app, right, that does this, where it forcefully blocks out the apps, and it has inbuilt features that make force you to not use the app for a certain period of time, and then after that time is up, it allows you to take a 10-minute break if you want, or however long you set. So I'm using an app similar to that, and that is really useful for that.
Afterwards.
So
You
I'm
have to truly
skipping
focus on
through
2 hours.
this section.
And the third and last one is to be precise. Set a goal for your 2 hours study session, because 2 hours realistically is a very
Alright, so this is all I'm gonna read for this section, but by precise goals, it makes sense. Your brain, I saw a different video, right? Your brain is like your brain needs a specific goal to work towards in order to feel dopamine. If you write, study for science, study for math, that's gonna feel like it's gonna feel like a burden, it's gonna feel confused, like what do I do? But if you write specific steps or specific goals to achieve that, your brain's like, that's what I need to do. And when you do half of it, you're like, oh wow, I reached half my goal. So it's a lot better to do precise stuff. So that's what I'll say. The rest of the video, I guess, is just fluff, and just boosting the YouTube look. So, yep, zero views. So yeah, let's look at word roots. Now, the reason why word roots are so important is because these are, you need to understand these word roots in order to understand the words. It's like you're building up the blocks, ABCs, in order to get to the doing words and grammar, you need to learn these to help you understand vocabulary better. So we're just gonna do a few of these word roots. Is not without. So it's like saying amorphous. It's not able to morph that easily, right? Or I forgot what the word actually means, but I guess it's something like, yeah, it's not crystalline or something like that. I don't know what amorphous means, but that's why we're here. Uh, N is also similar, like no, not without, yeah. Ante is kind of like the opposite of maybe. Oh no, never mind. And ante something means before. Antecedent is before the sedent. You know, ant. Before. Bene, it's like good. Ben, I guess also good. Yeah. Co is with. Yeah, together. Com is also together. Yeah, com is also like look, Quizlet.com. Where would you use that? Community. You know, community means you are together, right? Con. This means it's something negative like fraud or something. Oh, never mind. Con is also together. This is like not it. Like it's something that is not equivalent to something else, I guess. Yeah, not a part away, I guess. Diff is also not a part away. Di is also not a part away. X, I guess that's in the past. Out of, yeah. Out of. I guess also out of. I mean, yeah. Fact is like fact. Could be like truth or something. No, make do. Fic could be not like make do. Okay. Fact is also make do. Yeah, I don't think we're getting too many places with this, right? I think it's a good tool, but I think we need to find a better one. I'll try to find a better one next stream, but we are getting to Khan Academy, right? One cookbook recommends that a person can substitute 1 tablespoon of dried mint leaves. Okay, what we need to do is kind of like write this down. 1 big spoon equals 1/4 cup. So 1 big spoon equals 1/4 cup. Salad calls for, instead of 1/4 cup, it calls for 2 big spoons. Right? 2 big spoons. So how many big spoons of dried mint leaf could a person substitute into the recipe? If you if you're doing this, let's think about this like a ratio, right? One, we to compare things. You can't compare oranges and apples. So you need to convert 1 cup, a fourth of a cup. Let me research. 1 cup is how many tablespoons? Okay, 1 cup is 16 tablespoons, right? So a fourth of that would be 4 tablespoons. So 1 to 4 ratio. 4 big spoons equals 1 dried spoon. So if you have 2 fresh tablespoons, that's going to be equal to 4 times 2, which is going to be 8. It's a bit much, but it's got to be 8, right? Not quite. Okay. Oh, right. It's 1/4 cup of fresh. 1/4 cup is four. Yeah, it is four. Oh, you have 2 tablespoons of fresh, so we're converting that. So 2 divided by 4, which is 1/2. Yeah, sorry about that. I kind of messed up. A cone and a sphere. Let's look at this, right? A cone, right? Cone and a sphere, right? A sphere have equal volumes. Their volumes are equal, and their radii of equal length. The radii are equal length. If the height of the cone is 36 cm, what is the length of the radius in centimeters, right? So you know that the cone and the sphere have equal volumes. So what we need to do is write down these equations, set them equal to each other. Boom. We know that's true. If the height of the cone, we put the height of the cone. So what is the volume? Right? What is the volume of a cone? Uh, that kind of formula. So what is the volume of a cone? That equation is gonna be um 1/3 of pi r squared height. So 1/3 of 36 is gonna be 12. 12 pi r squared h. So pi 12 pi r squared equals the volume of a sphere. Now, what is the volume of a sphere? The volume of a sphere is going to be 4/3 pi r cubed. 4/3 pi r cubed. Pi r cubed. So what we're doing is we're solving for r. We're solving for the missing value. So how do you do this, right? You divide pi on both sides. It's gone. You divide r squared on both sides. It's gone. It's just that 4/3 r equals 12. And from that, what you can get is you multiply by 3/4. So if you multiply 12 by 3, it's 36 divided by 4. That's going to be equal to 9. 9 is the radius. 9 is our radius. The scatter plot describes the change. What best describes the relationship shown? Is it going to be positive or negative? Positive or negative? A normal one is going to appear like this, positive. A negative one is going to appear like this. Guess what it is? A negative. A negative. So immediately cross out these two. Now, we look at these negatives. What's different about them? This value is the same. Don't got to worry about it. This value is different. How can we test these out? I know. Something very useful is going to be this tool right here. You just plug in your two things and you can immediately find out what is good and what isn't good, right? Immediately find that out. Immediately. So this you can see isn't correct because you got 4 here and it's 3.17. Like what? Like this graph is in the negatives. It shouldn't be like this, right? So when you change that negative to a positive immediately, you get a curve that seems a lot more reasonable when looking at this. So you can deduce that it's this one that's correct. C is the right answer. So based on that, I think we can double it down. There we go. A circle with a center right? With the center of O has a circumference, right? So this circumference of 20 pi, 20 pi. What's the area of the shaded region? Well, the circumference of a circle, right? That is just this kind of linear, well, it's not a line, but it's just the outside part, right, of that circle. So that's going to be 20 pi. So what's the area of the shaded region? How can you figure it out? Well, circumference formula is just going to be d pi. It's just going to be d pi, which is 2 pi r. So if 2 pi r equals 20 pi, we can get rid of 2 pi, get rid of this, and say 10 is the radius. 10 is the radius. And it's just pi r squared. So pi 10 squared, pi 100. Pi 100. So 100 pi is going to be, right, it's going to be that answer. Okay, never mind. Okay. 2 pi r equals that. Where do we go wrong? Radius equals 10. Oh, 100 pi is a whole circle. It's a quarter of that. It's gonna be that, yeah. It's unfortunate. Alright, so